Hello. I don't really feel like $1,000,000 today, that's for sure. I'm not exactly, feeling all chipper or anything, but I thought that this was important enough to come on in here and talk about. Now, I know most of you know this by now, but I've kind of retired the jersey number when it comes to drama reporting. I don't really talk about drama in general, unless it's like really weird or wacky stuff like, the Secret Service shitter, where that Secret Service agent broke into someone's house to drop a floater. But aside from that, I just don't really make content around that anymore. But I had to make an exception for this story today. Yesterday, I mentioned that I was going down the 40k Warhammer lore rabbit hole, and then I got randomly fed like lemonade stand crimes that bled into the algorithm for some reason, and then I ended up going down that rabbit hole. Well, I also got fed a deep humor drama rabbit hole. Now, I filmed some of this yesterday when I wasn't feeling as dog shitty, and so you're gonna see some flip-flop in here where I don't seem that, miserable, and then I'm gonna cut in with a jump scare where I do feel miserable. So you're going to be seeing a lot of twists and turns, not only in the story we're covering, but in like the condition of Charles presenting it.
So there is a YouTuber that is also named Deep Humor that is pretty much trying to take my name on Twitter, and they have messaged me and demanded the name Deep Humor. This channel makes videos in Turkish where it seems to be some types of street interviews and scenarios. I think they're supposed to be comedy videos. This was a video that I made 6 years ago in August of 2018. Here's what I had to say in the video.
So I was on Social Blade, marveling at the 5 subs that I get every single month. Then I noticed something.
Basically, this YouTuber named Deep Humor for 6 years has been dealing with a channel that goes by Deep Humor as well, drowning him out in the YouTube algorithm to the point where you can't find his channel unless you go to like a direct link or scroll to like the very bottom, like godforsaken territory on page 2 of YouTube search. So, this is a video he made back in 2018 when he first became aware that there was another Deep Humor YouTube channel that had the same name and even the same logo, a logo that he himself whipped up. So, this has been an ongoing issue that he's dealt with since the very beginning of his channel.
They have the same name and the same logo that I made myself, with little effort, but still.
He goes on to say in that video that he's not particularly bothered, more just surprised that someone would take his name and logo when he only had 78 subscribers at the time. I've got a little fan theory here. I think that the Deep Humor channel that took the logo didn't even know that this YouTuber existed. I think what happened is they just Googled Deep Humor, went to Google Images, and this guy's channel profile pic popped up and he said, that one. And they just right-clicked Save As and then used it for his channel. I don't think he ever even found the YouTuber's channel, but that's just my little tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It doesn't really change anything because the fact of the matter remains he clearly did take his channel profile pic. And over the course of months, that Deep Humor impersonator channel started to gain steam, thousands of subs and hundreds of thousands of views, which changed his perspective on it because now his channel couldn't be found, because it would only go to that channel, once again using his same name and logo. Even though the content was wildly different, Turkish street interviews versus English commentary videos, it is still obvious that they used his logo that he made. He also mentions that Deep Humor isn't the most unique name in the world. That's like the John Smith of YouTube handles. Millions of people could have thought of that. He's 100% right.
Obviously, if you make a YouTube channel called Deep Humor, it's not a big deal because that's quite an ambiguous name. It's not like it's something super unique. It is, a name that somebody else could have thought of.
The issue wasn't really in the name itself, it was the combination of his channel logo being taken with that name. It made it so no one could ever find his channel, because now there's two with the same name, same logo, and YouTube's always going to push the more popular one.
I don't even know what the fuck this guy's uploading anymore. Let's go look at his stupid channel. And
interestingly enough, that channel did actually end up getting banned for copyright infringement. But just like a Hydra, you cut off one Deep Humor head, 2 more take its place.
I don't know if you guys had caught in the Social Blade part of my video, that channel was actually made on June 21st, 2017. And remember that you can change your YouTube channel username, channel art at any time. The reason why I am mentioning that is because all of a sudden after this guy had gotten banned, maybe a month or two afterwards, there was another channel that popped up called Deep Humor. This channel was made in 2016, which is actually even before my channel was made.
He states that a month after Deep Humor Judgment Day, there was a new one that popped up, which was the current one right here. Same content, Turkish street interviews, but now it's called Deep Humor. So he speculates that the name was changed. And I think he's probably right, because when you were searching Deep Humor back in 2018, that channel would have absolutely popped up. Since it was made in 2016 and this channel has been popular for a while, it would have been in the search, but it wasn't. So what likely happened is after that channel got banned, the person behind it went to this channel and changed the name to Deep Humor, but this time didn't use the same logo that had just got their previous account banned. That's what I think happened, and seems to be what the real Deep Humor seems to think as well.
And so in another video where I had talked about this, people were getting on me saying, oh, but this person made their channel before you, so how did they copy you? Well, they copied me because they clearly just changed their YouTube username to Deep Humor, which, like I said, anyone can do at any time. I believe this is the same person that had gotten banned all those years ago, and that same person who had originally taken my YouTube channel icon. Why do I believe this? Because just like that channel so many years ago, this channel also makes Turkish street videos.
This is still just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. This is going to turn into a full reverse flash situation for Deep Humor. Like, this is the reverse Deep Humor. So that kind of sums up the genesis of this Deep Humor war here. And now we get to where things get very spicy and it gets out of control quick.
I don't want your Twitter page. I just want your username in exchange for money. How much can you give? I just said, hello, how much money are you offering? Obviously, if they offered me like $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, I would probably give them the username because it's real life and I do need that type of money. And I don't really make any money off YouTube, unfortunately, mainly because of this guy.
The battlefield shifts from YouTube to Twitter as Deep Humor receives an interesting DM from this gentleman, saying that he wants to purchase the Deep Humor username for his Twitter page, and he's offering him 50 bucks. 50 clams, and he doesn't even have the courtesy to throw in an over-the-pants hand job. And he couldn't even wait more than 6 minutes before just going mask off, revealing that he's the villain. He goes, "What's your answer, buddy?" He's treating this like it's a scene out of fucking Pulp Fiction. What does Deep Humor look like? Does he look like a bitch? Like, it's like, man, you didn't even give him time to process that. He's acting like a virgin who's not getting immediate text back from his love interest, you know? Like, it's been 3 minutes, do you hate me? Is that what's going on here? Like, holy shit, man, it's not like you just made him some kind of life-changing offer here. It's not like you just opened up a briefcase full of money for the Deep Humor channel. You offered him 50 bucks out of nowhere for the Deep Humor Twitter page. And then, only 9 minutes after the "what's your answer, buddy," he gets even more douchey and hostile, saying, "Come on, man, I don't want your page, I just want your username. Look, you don't have any interaction on Twitter, so losing this username won't cause you any loss." What an asshole, and also what a terrible businessman. Yeah, I can't wait to sell you this Deep Humor username now that you've insulted me. I'd love to shake hands on that, you piece of shit. Like, what? I don't, like, I'll never understand people like this. It has not even been, like, half an hour since you've reached out and made an offer. How can you be this impatient and this much of an asshole? I really don't get it. I don't know how anyone can ever expect to have a positive outcome acting like this.
So I just straight up send him a picture of those two channels and I say, "Is this your YouTube channel?" And then he says, "No, man, if only I had this big channel, then I could pay you much more. I only have one YouTube channel and I have 2 subscribers there." And he puts a sad face. He sends me some YouTube channel, and for some reason he even sends me the date the YouTube channel was created. Now, if you look at when they created the YouTube channel, it was created in 2016. This is a channel that he claims is his personal channel that he sent to me. This channel was created in 2016, and remember, he's also a Turkish gentleman. Let's go over to the YouTube channel Deep Humor that I claim is impersonating me, also a Turkish YouTuber, also channel created in 2016.
Something's definitely fishy there. That smell is smelling a little smelly if you ask me. This Turkish guy reaches out about purchasing Deep Humor from him, and then links his YouTube channel, which has 2 subs. Why could he possibly want the Deep Humor username? His YouTube channel has less interaction than the guy he's insulting, and his Twitter page is more dead than Concord. What would be the reason behind him wanting to purchase Deep Humor so badly that he is literally furiously typing at his keyboard the second he doesn't get an immediate response. Doesn't really add up. And it is interesting that his personal YouTube page that he sends the date of its creation of for some reason is the same year as the Deep Humor Turkish Street Interview page. That is quite a coinky-dink.
Why is he demanding the Twitter handle Deep Humor from me? Because he already has everything else. Instagram/Deep Humor, Facebook.com/Deep Humor, and TikTok @Deep Humor. This Twitter handle, Deep Humor, this is all I got over him. This is like that last fucking infinity stone in his infinity gauntlet that he's trying to get.
And that's pretty much where Chapter 1 closes here on the Deep Humor saga. But it's also what leads to, by far, the biggest catastrophe in this war. This is a tragedy, and it's one that many YouTubers know all too well. The Deep Humor Turkish Street Interview page files a copyright strike on the Deep Humor commentary YouTuber.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep my composure during this because this is just such BS, but my video talking about me losing my channel potentially just got copyright striked by the Deep Humor that I pretty much proved is copying me. This Deep Humor right over here.
A false copyright strike. The first blood has been drawn here. This is a huge sin online, to file a fraudulent strike on another channel. Deep Humor, the real one, never even used a single second of the other channel's videos, ever. There was nothing that they could even potentially make an argument for as a justification for taking down that video. The sole reason is because it made them look really bad. That is why they did it.
So YouTube messages me and says, hello, we received a copyright takedown request for your video. However, the takedown request is missing some legally required information.
The video actually got reinstated pretty quickly after the takedown because Goober forgot to put in some required information, which is still very alarming that he was even able to successfully take it down when he completely forgot half of the required shit. But that ended up sending Deep Humor the reason for the takedown. So, statement regarding the allegedly infringing work. And this guy said, my work of art. I think it's worth mentioning that this guy's channel is re-uploads of other people's work that he just edits together. He is a compilation channel. He credits some of the original artists, sure, but it's not like he has a work of art. He is taking shit that he sees on Instagram that he goes, haha, he downloads it and then puts it on YouTube. Like, to have the gall, the fucking chutzpah, to defend yourself like this, calling it a work of art, and trying to take down and silence someone who is making a very real case for why you have been a huge headache for them, is just, it's almost comical if it wasn't so sad and pathetic. Now I know there's probably a lot of people watching this saying, well, why didn't one of them just change their name? And I get that perspective. I'm glad the commentary channel didn't fold here and stuck to their guns, like defending the Deep Humor title, being loyal to it. I don't understand why the Turkish Street Interview channel didn't change their name at some point. The previous one got fucking banned. And it's not like the name Deep Humor even really fits the content that he's posting. He is a compilation of Turkish street interviews. Why wouldn't you have that name also match that content? It doesn't make sense to me. Instead of being Deep Humor 1 and Deep Humor 2, he could have just had a different name. And he also admits to changing his Instagram name, I think it was 7 times. So it's not like he's had Deep Humor since the beginning of the fucking Big Bang or anything. He is open to changing his shit around. Why wouldn't he do that for this? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, though, looking at this further, type of work, copyrighted logo. Where does the content appear? The content is located between 0 seconds and 34 minutes in the target video. Hey, Buster, the video is 15 minutes long. How the fuck could your logo appear in 34 minutes of that? Are you stuck in like the hyperbolic time chamber or something? What are you even watching? Jesus Christ. And now we get to the current day here, the most recent update where Deep Humor 1 left a response in the comment section. So he says that he watched the video after the comments, he's never seen the channel before in his life, he's been using the name on Instagram since the end of 2015, saying that old followers will remember that. He was only making edits on Instagram, had nothing to do with YouTube. There were a ton of channels using that name, uploading his edits, and at that time, due to his financial situation, he sold the Instagram account, paying royalties to all channels that used his videos, And most likely the channel that was shown throughout all this, the one that used the Deep Humor's logo, he's saying most likely that was one of his channels that he had taken down.
Someone else replied and said, you do have a Twitter account, because who else would ask for that handle? That account had a Turkish flag, so you know because he's you. Also about the Instagram stuff, you say you have the username since 2015, but it shows that you have this account since December 2019, and you have changed your username 7 times. Suspicious. He replies and said, I don't need to buy a username because everyone in Turkey already knows me. Definitely gonna win the Humble Person of the Year award right there. Your friend's concept is different from mine, and even our languages aren't the same.
He claims that it wasn't him on Twitter that reached out about buying the Deep Humor name. He thinks it was someone that was reaching out to purchase it from the OG Deep Humor in order to sell it to Deep Humor 1. Fair enough, like, there's no way to prove it's the same person, but that is an interesting plan. To purchase the Deep Humor name for $50 to try and sell it to the Deep Humor Turkish street interview channel. I don't know how popular Deep Humor as a name is in Turkey that there'd be multiple people wanting it so badly.
Okay, here we go. Someone says, if it's just a misunderstanding and you're correct in everything, then why did you try to copy strike his video down? You could have just talked about it. Because in the video, your friend is making false accusations and slandering me. Let me stop you right there. That's not why you copyright striked me, though. You did not copyright strike me for slander or harassment or whatever you're claiming. You copyright striked me because apparently I used your copyrighted logo. So you're giving one reason, and then you're copyright striking me for another reason. For me to do this on this channel because my Turkish audience won't understand anything and it'll only make things more complicated, the copyright strike was just a warning. This sentence is more incriminating than anything that you have ever said. You just said that you gave me a false copyright strike to warn me.
Not exactly the biggest pro-gamer move I've ever seen here, but maybe I just can't wrap my tiny brain around his galaxy brain plan. He openly admits that the strike was a warning. You're admitting to a fraudulent strike, you know that, right? You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. And he's just openly stating it. It's not something to be proud of that you falsely struck someone as some kind of show of power or whatever. He then also makes a subtle threat of potential legal action that he might decide to take. So he's really being a big asshole and openly admitting to something that you're not allowed to do, which is file a fraudulent strike. And he had no ground to stand on, even if he tried to make an argument for it, because his logo being shown once or twice in that video is not an issue at all in the first place. This is him being a petty douchebag. Now, he has made a response, and in the response, he did prove 2 things.
Yüksek ihtimal bu Türk adam aldı YouTube kullanıcı adını. Ben kapattırdım. Ben YouTube'da da yokum ya o zaman. Sadece Instagram'dayım. Ben kapattırır kapattırmaz bu arkadaş gitti kullanıcı adını aldı Deep Humor'ı. Yani şu anda bana dua etmesi lazım o arkadaşın. Günahını da almak istemiyorum. Ya da kullanacak mıydı? Çünkü bayağı bir popüler Türkiye'de. Ya bana satmaya çalışacaktı ya kendi kullanacaktı.
Ya bir şey söyleyeyim mi? Gerçekten bunlar beyin fukarası, bak yemin ederim. Bak o videoda mutlaka izle. Bana atmış ekran görüntüsünü. Demiş ki bu YouTube kanalı senin mi demiş. Ben de demişim ki hayır benim değil. Kendi kanalıma atmış.
The vast majority of the video is him talking about some awful comments and some emails that he's gotten as a result of this, and he blames Deep Humor for it, saying that he leads them and herds them like sheep to harass him, which is just an outright lie. In pretty much every video Deep Humor's made about this, he tells people not to. He doesn't encourage that behavior at all. He shuts that shit down to the best of his ability, but because the story got so big, there's a lot of people who do that kind of garbage, and it's a terrible thing. Like, he's not wrong to be upset about it, but he is incorrect in saying that it is Deep Humor's fault. I'm relying on Google Translate here, so I don't know how accurate this is, but he shows his inbox where he has takedowns filed back in 2018, so presumably one of those channels was the one that started this whole hoopla, which was the channel that took the OG Deep Humor's channel logo. He then also proves that the account that reached out to Deep Humor through Twitter about purchasing the Deep Humor username is not him. He reached out to that same guy and had a conversation with him about it, where the two just kept exchanging insults at Deep Humor, and that dude even sent like 2 voice messages where he was calling him like an idiot, and then making some shit up about how the OG Deep Humor was talking about something being illegal or whatever. So I mean, that also confirms a third thing, that Twitter guy is a massive piece of shit. That guy super sucks. He is a turbo asshole. What Deep Humor's response fails to address, even loosely, is the fraudulent copyright strike that he filed. He also deleted his previous comments, so I can't go back through them. At least, I don't think I can. I can't find them anymore. So he instead deleted the evidence where he openly admitted that it was fraudulent and a warning, and now, in his response, never brings that up for some very peculiar reason. That's so weird.
So basically, he goes on for a while here, but basically he's saying the guy that I showed that DM'd me on Twitter isn't him. But the reason why I thought it was him is because of all the random coincidences coming together all at once. Coincidence number 1, Turkish Street YouTube channel takes my username and icon on August 2018. Coincidence number 2, on October 2018, that channel impersonating me gets banned, and then all of a sudden you pop out of nowhere less than 3 months later with the name Deep Humor also making Turkish Street content. Coincidence number 3, a random Turkish dude that has taken a weird interest in the name Deep Humor messages me on Twitter demanding the username. Could I have been wrong about all 3 coincidences? Of course, but am I unreasonable for leaning towards that conclusion? I don't think so. I feel like that makes total sense.
I agree, it's not an unreasonable conclusion to draw given all the circumstances, and it's something that could have been solved with the first video and none of the messiness with a fraudulent strike and all of that hoopla. Deep Humor 1 could have easily reached out and explained it to him, or just leave a comment on the video. Deep Humor 1 fucking loves the YouTube comment system. He leaves like 40 of those bitches all the time on all of his videos. He could have absolutely just left a comment on that first video, which he was clearly aware of since he struck it. He could have just left a comment explaining like, hey, you've got this wrong, that's not me on Twitter, that was not me back in 2018 that had your channel icon or anything like that, and then explain it. Like, that would have been super simple and it would have solved this right away.
And then he says, hello, my friend, the copyright was not fake. My logo was legally copyrighted and licensed. We have pretty much already kind of proved that this is false. Not his logo being copyrighted and licensed, but the fact that me making a 15-minute commentary/criticism video where I show his logo every now and then does not constitute as copyright infringement. That is protected under fair use. I've actually even talked to a few lawyers about this now, and they've all confirmed for me that that is fair use. Perfect point right over here. You don't send copyright claims over someone lying about you. That's an abuse of the copyright system. My friend, it seems you're not very knowledgeable about copyright. If I wanted to, I could have sent a notice to his channel for damaging the brand name or even filed a defamation for him, but I didn't.
Basically, he just keeps saying he could have done a lot worse but chose not to. Instead, he played it soft with just a copyright strike. One that he could not possibly enforce at all. Showing his fucking channel logo for a couple of seconds in the video is not grounds for a copyright strike. If the whole thing was about him being wrong in his assumption that you were the one reaching about the username, that is something that you could have solved with a single fucking comment about it instead of a strike. You can't weaponize frivolous strikes like this. I don't know why he can't understand that. And I think he does, which is why he didn't mention it at all in his video to his audience. Instead, he goes to the comment section where a lot less people are going to see how big of an asshole he is. It is so interesting that he can't wrap his head around him being the cause for this being such a big deal. His decision to strike this channel has led to it being this massive drama as opposed to what it started as, which was just like this weird, wacky story. Anyway, though, that's where the Deep Humor saga concludes for now. That's really about it. So, yeah. All of you know I like to collect shiny trading cards, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. There's just something about a holographic card that just activates all the neurons in my tiny little primitive smooth brain and makes me clap and have a smile on my face. Now, I've collected cards for a long time, and Wizards of the Coast has produced a lot of the cards I've collected, early Pokemon sets and Magic the Gathering, for example. And what they've recently done to another collector is unforgivably cruel. They unleashed the fucking Pinkertons to go to this man's house and scare him and his wife and confiscate some Magic the Gathering booster boxes that he had recently purchased. That sounds like the plot to a Breaking Bad episode when someone didn't fully compensate Tuco for the drugs they bought. Now, the reason there was an issue with his purchase is because the YouTuber made a video showcasing the boxes that he got, and it turns out the boxes he received were not the ones that he actually ordered. He had ordered a booster box set called March of the Machine, but what he received was March of the Machine, The Aftermath, which was an unreleased set, and he unveiled the cards a month early. It was a leak, and it was a problem with the distribution because the names are so similar. He believes what happened is the person he tried to purchase March of the Machine boxes from accidentally sent him the unreleased boxes because the names were so similar and they got confused. But he didn't steal the product or anything like that. He didn't knowingly purchase unreleased product. He just got sent the wrong thing. But Wizards of the Coast, they took this as an affront to God. I'm sure all of you have heard the name Pinkertons before because they were literally the bad guys in Red Dead. Like, they have existed for 170 years. I had no idea they were still around. I thought they went extinct like fucking 100 years ago. But they still currently operate today. And Wizards of the Coast dusted off the old hotline right to their desk and ordered an operation for them. I'm not here to do a deep dive on the history of the Pinkertons. They engaged in a lot of terrifying shit a long time ago, and I don't know to what capacity they still operate and do business today, but just their reputation enough is horrifying, and the fact that Wizards of the Coast used them as their first means of communication with this YouTuber is frightening. As far as I know, Wizards of the Coast didn't make any attempts to directly communicate with the YouTuber to resolve the situation without making a big hoopla out of it. It seems they just immediately, like, slapped the Pinkertons on the ass and told them, get out there, sport. Time to engage Operation Pinkerton Pain Train, and then sent them right to the man's doorstep. And when I was reading about this story and watched the video the content creator posted about the situation, I immediately pictured Wizards of the Coast higher-ups donning these dark cloaks put over their head, kind of like Darth Sidious in Star Wars, sitting around this giant table like an Austin Powers supervillain lair, brainstorming on the best course of action to reclaim the stolen goods, even though it wasn't stolen. And then they came up with the scariest option they could at the time. They treated this YouTuber, his name's Old School MTG, they treated him like Cobra Commander, and they were sending the G.I. Joe after him, all over a fucking trading card leak that the guy didn't even mean to engage in the first place. Yes, he did film the opening of the Aftermath box, which was a leak and it was early, but they could have just asked him politely to, like, take it down and even ship back the product, and they would maybe just give him what he meant to buy. This was clearly an issue in the distribution, not with the YouTuber himself. He didn't mean to buy this set because it wasn't out. He just wanted some March of the Machine boxes, and it became a big deal, so much so that it escalated to Wizards of the Coast sending the Pinkertons, which is just wild. You know, the title's not like a joke. The Pinkertons, and this is news to me, are still real. You know them as the bad guys in Red Dead, but they are like a real firm. So basically, in a nutshell, there is a YouTuber, I believe his name is Old School MTG, I'll pull up his channel in just a moment. He ordered a set of boxes for Magic the Gathering called Wrath of the Machine, or March of the Machine. And what ended up happening is he got an unreleased set of boxes called March of the Machine Aftermath. And he publicized that he had it, and this was a big leak for Wizards of the Coast. And they responded as if he had just stolen the Krabby Patty secret formula. They threw the wood at him. They contacted and hired the Pinkerton firm to go to this man's house and reclaim the merchandise, claiming that it was stolen goods. So, on his channel, I'll pull it up now. I believe it's Old School MTG. Yeah, Old School MTG. So on his channel in this video, he discusses exactly what happened. So the Pinkertons show up and he's describing them as heavy hitters and scary and made his wife cry. They were apparently talking about like jail time for stolen goods, and then they confiscated the March of the Machine Aftermath boxes. Old School MTG explains that it was just a simple misunderstanding. He didn't know the products were stolen. He doesn't even think the products were stolen. He thinks what happened is somewhere along the way, the guy that he was buying them from is not a Magic guy. He says he's more of a Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Didn't realize there was a difference between March of the Machine and March of the Machine Aftermath. So when he made the purchase order for March of the Machine, he accidentally sent him Aftermath. So like a very big, honest mistake from the way it sounds. It's not like old school MTG went in there like it was fucking Ocean's 11 and had some kind of grand heist to steal March of Madness Aftermath boxes. It was actually just a fuck up. But Wizards of the Coast took it very seriously and hired the Pinkertons, which is beyond scary. Like, the Pinkertons. They actually had a lawsuit because of the reputation that they have. They had a lawsuit with Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if you guys remember this. Because they were tired of their reputation of being the bad guys. Well, here, this is a follow-up to it, but basically they didn't like that they were still being portrayed as bad guys, so they engaged in a legal battle over their portrayal. Trading card mafia. Yeah, this was such an overreaction from Wizards of the Coast. I don't know what's been going on over there, man. They have been, like, cracking down on everything with an iron fist, much to the reputational damage of the whole company. It's crazy. All the D&D shit, it just doesn't stop. But what's also wilder, by the way, is the thing he had access to, March of the Machine in the Aftermath, which, you know, he opened on cam. Big no-no, big leak. It's not even like it's that deep in the future. It's like 3 weeks away. So we got it 3 weeks early. It's not that big of a fucking deal. But yeah, they confiscated all the boxes and everything, intimidated him, scared him. But he's like super, super generous to them in this video. I don't know if it's out of fear or what, but what they did to him is beyond wrong. Like, this man got done dirty. And in the video, he talks about Wizards, like, very positively. I don't know if they had, like, a gun to his head or what, but he was, like, really charitable. He was like, yeah, you know, after the Pinkertons raided my fucking house, they gave me a contact at Wizards, so I called them, and they were super nice and super apologetic, even offered a potential reimbursement with some product. I was like, when I was listening to that, I was like, man, this guy's got a heart of gold, because what they're doing is they're panicking, because what they did is, quite frankly, beyond disgusting. I don't even know if it's fully legal. To hire a private security firm to go reclaim material that you don't even know for sure is stolen? Like, what do you mean? Because this guy didn't fucking steal it. They apologized to him. Not publicly. Only over the phone. Like, the personal contact, he said, was very sweet. And I imagine that they were really trying to sugarcoat him so that way they could maybe avoid a lawsuit if he decides to, like, actually look into this situation. Because, again, I don't even think what they did is legal by sicking the fucking Pinkertons on him to confiscate his shit. Why not just ignore the Pinkertons? Brother, you have not played Red Dead. Now, he didn't have to give over his goods, I don't think, because, again, I'm not, you know, I never passed the bar, but it doesn't seem like that's actually something that they could get away with legally. But you're not going to just, like, ignore the Pinkertons. He described them as, like, heavy hitters, like, scary. God, it really does sound like a mission out of Red Dead, though. I come out and the wife's answering the door and it's the Pinkertons. Fuck, man. But yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter, for some reason it's always Twitter that has like the dumbest takes, like, I don't think they sent the Pinkertons, that wouldn't make any sense. But then Wizards themselves did confirm that the Pinkertons were part of the investigation. And then of course they just go silent after they're confronted with like the reality that they were wrong. It's like, why should we believe this YouTuber? He's probably lying. Did he record the Pinkertons? But to be fair, it does sound like unbelievable that a trading card company, well, I mean, there are a lot more than that, but over trading card disputes, they'd hire the goddamn Pinkertons. But yeah, here's his explanation. Somebody screwed up, sent out the wrong cases to the gentleman that I bought the boxes off of because when he sold me the stuff, he said he was selling March of the Machine collector's boxes, not Aftermath. He didn't even really know what Aftermath really was, I don't think. So like I mentioned, he believes that it was just something along the distribution chain because the names are so similar that someone got confused and sent out the wrong thing. Are Pinkertons a crime family or an organization? Yeah, the line's kind of blurred if you look at the Pinkertons historically, but they are a detective agency. But they've been around for 170 years. And they've got a wild history. During their height, they had more armed men than the U.S. Army. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. It's not a very intimidating name. I disagree, man. That name actually sounds straight out of the Wild West era of just lawless, wild shit. I don't know, you hear that name and you're like, oh wow, those are some loose cannons that don't play by the rules. I really do feel bad for the guy because he seems super wholesome and genuine. In his video, he's also just really nice to Wizards of the Coast about everything that happened, even in spite of them sending these heavy-duty lawman Pinkerton agents to his house who also mentioned jail time and scared his wife. Like, that's crossing a line when they could have reached out in other methods to talk to him and clear up this incident. But they went with the scariest option immediately to, like, intimidate and scare him and reclaim the stolen goods. Now, I don't know if the Pinkertons had a warrant to, like, search and confiscate his shit. It still, to me, feels like what happened here isn't fully legal, which is why when Old School MTG called Wizards of the Coast representative on the phone, they were so nice and apologetic. They probably don't want him to think too hard about it and consider a lawsuit, because to me, and based on the little bit of reading I've done around situations like this, it doesn't seem like this was fully within the rights of Wizards of the Coast to do. This seems like it's in a really weird legal gray area here, and a pretty fucked up situation regardless, even if it is fully legal. It was just unnecessarily aggressive. So I wanted to talk about this situation a little bit, and yeah, that's about it. So yep. Every single day there's been a new jump scare of crazy shit happening somewhere in the world, and every time I fire on the internet, it feels like I'm trapped in a bad fan fiction written on DeviantArt. It's just so much, and I've been trying to keep my finger on the pulse of everything, and it's overwhelming. I feel like a cold turkey being dunked in a deep fat fryer. I'm about to explode right now. But I wanted to make this video going over all those topics because I keep getting asked about it. I've become somewhat of a cum dumpster for drama, so I of course have been keeping up with most things going on, so let's just go over all of it here, at least to some degree. So slap on your snorkel because we're diving into the deep end. I want to start with the Balenciaga situation. Balenciaga is a high fashion brand that I'm sure all of you have heard of, at least in passing before, and they recently ran a really disturbing ad campaign where they had a photo shoot involving children holding their favorite toys, but those toys, in some cases, were a plush teddy bear in BDSM gear. There was some other awful ones as well, but that's the one that stood out to most people because it was actual BDSM gear, and also a little girl was surrounded by like wine glasses and a spiked dog bowl. It's fucking awful stuff. I don't know who in their right mind came up with this idea or how they okayed this. They must have brought Jeffrey Epstein back with necromancy and asked him for some input on their next ad campaign, because this is bafflingly awful. And Balenciaga put out a pretty bizarre statement about it by making the claim that kids were never even supposed to be involved in that photo shoot with the BDSM bears. But that seems provably false because the photographer who took the pictures has an entire career out of doing that in a very different way. So this photographer goes around the world, takes pictures of kids with their favorite toys out. And that seems to be what they did here for Balenciaga, but the toys they made the kids put out were the BDSM bears, the spiked bowl, and shit like that. The photographer, Galimberti, also came out and said that he had no say whatsoever in the items that were displayed or anything. He was just instructed to go to set and take the pictures in his signature style. So it seems it was a Balenciaga decision, not a him decision. From what I can tell, the photographer takes these pictures of kids and their toys, and it's supposed to be like a wholesome thing, but with Balenciaga, they completely bastardized that and turned it into something very fucking different. So their claim that kids weren't supposed to be there doesn't make any sense considering all of these factors. But this was only the tip of the iceberg, because after this happened, people dug a bit deeper into their 2023 spring catalog and they found this picture. This is an advertisement for a Balenciaga purse, and why is it important? Well, all of those papers that look like a tornado just hit and they're thrown all over the place aren't visible except for one. And if you zoom in on that picture, you can see that it's a 2008 Supreme Court case involving child pornography. And I want to shout out Mudahar here because he did a great job covering all of this. So if you want a deeper look into this whole situation, I highly recommend going to his channel, Some Ordinary Gamers. And that piece of paper that's visible in the shot is all about this case right here, which focused on child pornography as well as like promotion and advertising, shit like that. It's a very weird thing to have in a Balenciaga ad, especially when coupled with their last photo shoot using those little girls. So obviously these two things together made people very upset and very concerned with Balenciaga. Like, why the fuck is this happening? And Balenciaga responded by suing the ad company that ran the purse one that had the child porn document, calling it extraordinarily reckless and looking for $25 million after the damage that the photos have done to their brand. Now, Balenciaga certainly isn't blameless here. Like, Balenciaga didn't just pass these things off to the ad firm here and let them run wild, Hulkmania running wild on their brand without any say-so from Balenciaga. There's no shot. They wouldn't just let them make their own shit and then publish it without Balenciaga ever coming through and approving it. They had to thoroughly go through these things, I imagine, in order to give it the green light. Is it possible with the purse one that they didn't bother to look at that document that was showing? Maybe, but that's still, Balenciaga bears a lot of blame there. Take more time to make sure you haven't just been bamboozled by this ad company. And in the other case with the photo shoots involving the children, Balenciaga seems to be the one that was behind that and then just brought a photographer on to take the pictures. Like, that one's entirely on them. So, with that in mind, it's kind of easy to see why people connect the dots that Balenciaga is, for some reason, trying to promote their brand using children in a very inappropriate manner. So that's kind of the gist on that situation, and I'm going to just go ahead and move on to the next one. But again, if you want more information on it, I do think Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers does a great breakdown. But moving on to the next one, this one isn't nearly as serious. The new Mario trailer dropped, and everyone asks me what I think of Chris Pratt's voice. But before I get into that, I'll go ahead and address the Christmas tree being absent in the background. Io is obsessed with eating the branches, which of course is not good for a cat's digestive system. So I've had to remove the tree because she keeps trying to devour it and trying to steal Christmas like the Grinch here, because she just really likes the little branches on it. So that's why that's not there. And yeah, just want to clear that up. But back to Mario. Trailer dropped and a lot of people were debating, does Chris Pratt's voice suck ass as Mario? And people have been asking me what I think, so I'll just go ahead and give my opinion on it. I don't think Chris Pratt would have been a horrible fit if he put more effort into it. It really feels like he just phoned in his whole performance, at least based on this trailer. Of course, the full movie could come out and it could blow me away, I guess. But in this trailer, it feels like he's not even trying. Like, half the times, it sounds like he's delivering his lines while he's about to pass out from Xanax. Like, it doesn't really seem like he's giving it his best. Whereas Jack Black as Bowser, I thought fucking crushed it. I think Jack Black was a great casting choice for Bowser. Chris Pratt, I'm definitely not sold on. It doesn't really seem like he's trying. I did, however, watch all of the other languages for this trailer, and I think the best one is the French dub. The French voice actor for Mario, I thought, really went after it and did a great job. But yeah, Chris Pratt, I don't think is really getting the job done for Mario and doing it justice. Of course, you can disagree with me. It's not that big of a deal. I just figured I'd chime in on it. And since we're already on the topic of Nintendo, I'll go ahead and give a shocking update there. Nintendo released a patch for the new Pokemon Scarlet Violet, and they even addressed how awful and unacceptable the performance is of the game, saying that they want to make it better and will make it better, which I nearly shit my pants. I almost fucking flew out of my chair when I read that Nintendo actually acknowledged how awful the state of the game is from a performance perspective. Now, I've said I do like the gameplay of the game, and I understand a lot of people do, but the performance is still unacceptable. Running at 2 frames per second most of the time and having so many bugs and glitches and so many issues, it's definitely not a $60 game with polish. And Nintendo actually acknowledging that is crazy. But one thing they've failed to acknowledge is the shutting down of the Smash World Tour, which they did a little over 24 hours ago, coming up on 48 hours actually. Shutting down one of the biggest Smash Brothers circuit that's ever happened, only a couple weeks before it was finally about to wrap up. Nintendo hasn't said anything about that, and nor has Panda, or Alan from Panda, who seemed to have been the puppet master behind this entire evil scheme. None of them have come forward with anything to explain it or give their side of the story, so we're all still waiting on bated breath to see their perspective, but for now it's just radio silence, seeming like all of Panda all at once just evacuated the office to go into hiding, like a fucking rapture hit Panda's organization headquarters, because still nothing from them. I feel like they should address it as quickly as possible, but I believe I heard from HBox that they're getting a very serious statement prepared with like a legal team and everything. For those that don't know, I'll give you a brief recap. I made a video on it yesterday, but I'll just give you like the cliff notes. Smash World Tour, biggest circuit that's ever been held for Smash Brothers professional players. It was about to wrap up. The night before Thanksgiving, Nintendo gave them notice that they can't do it anymore. It's being shut down. Smash World Tour had been in communication with Nintendo directly through the entire duration of the tournament, so this really came out of nowhere. And then it was revealed with the statement from Smash World Tour that it seems more like Panda Cup, the Panda Cup, which was a competing circuit, had a very strong role to play in this shutdown of their tournament. Panda is led by Alan, who is the head of Panda, and it seems like he had been having a history of going around and trying to scare other tournaments into joining the Panda Cup, and if they refused, he started making threats about getting Nintendo to shut them down. This has been confirmed by more than just the Smash World Tour organizers. It's been confirmed by other reputable organizers as well about Alan's behavior. So we really do need a statement from them to talk about their side about this situation, but we don't have it yet. Now, there have been a couple of other big things going on, but I haven't had the chance to really spread the cheeks and get to the bottom of those stories, so I'm going to be doing some more research on those and probably make videos about it later on. Really, the last topic that I want to quickly touch on is the Liver King, who I made a video about yesterday as well. The Liver King, giant fitness influencer, has a lot of businesses, claims to make over $100 million a year based on those businesses, and has always claimed that his physique is naturally obtained, but emails leaked that show that he actually cycles a lot of like HGH and shit like that. So not natty at all, it appears. He still hasn't come forward. He is still actively posting and ignoring it. I believe he still only made that one statement I talked about yesterday where he says he'd like to talk about a complicated issue, referring to this, on podcasts. So he still hasn't been on any yet, but I am excited to see how he explains this because he's already lost the chance to deny it. He didn't say those emails were fake. He said that they highlight a complicated issue. So it seems like he's going to try and tackle these things head on and go over it. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like, but we don't have any developments there either. So this is most things going on in the world at the moment, and I just wanted to get all of it out in one video so that way people stop asking me about all of these individual things. So yeah, this is the giant stew of all of those topics. That's about it. See ya. I hope you've got some Pepto-Bismol nearby, because I'm about to blow your ass out with wackiness. Good golly, do I have something goofy for you today. This is like a full circle season finale of controversy, and I can't even believe what I'm about to talk about. It all goes back 2 years ago when I made this video called I'm Mad. This video was the patient zero to an epidemic that led to multiple channels getting strikes for a very innocent video. That video was SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse mascots having a road rage incident. It was an old fake stunt that went viral a long time ago, so a ton of YouTubers had made videos joking about it and laughing at it, and all of those channels, including my own, ended up getting a strike in one giant sweeping plague. This was a couple years ago, and we all thought it was resolved, but today, it reared its ugly head yet again, with YouTube issuing yet another strike for the exact same video to another massive YouTube channel named Night Docs. Before I get into like the current situation, I'm just going to give the full lore breakdown surrounding this video because it may very well be one of the most forbidden videos on the platform at this point. The amount of people that have received a strike for this is outrageous. And just so we're all on the same page, a strike is a very big deal. A strike on YouTube is a huge, huge issue. So this is the biggest punishment YouTube can issue a creator. All over a fake road rage involving SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse. So yeah, I made a video on that road rage incident, just making jokes about it. It was 4 dudes in mascot costumes, one being SpongeBob, one being Mickey Mouse. Those were the real protagonists, and they were throwing hands with a guy on the street and beating him up just on the road while 2 guys were filming and laughing about it. And I was just making jokes about it, nothing crazy. There's nothing scary or terrifying or shocking happening. It's pretty clearly not real, I would think, but regardless, I received a full strike for it. And I was very upset. I was livid. And you could see it in the video. You could really feel the rage oozing out of every pore in my body. I was like Kratos. So I stomped my feet and I threw my temper tantrum with tears in my eyes and warm milk in my hands, and I made a big stink because There was nothing wrong with that video. It was taken down for being like disturbing content, but there's no violence in there, not real violence. There's no blood, there's no bruising because it's all fake. It's a silly, stupid stunt. You had SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse and the Dirty Boys in their mascot costume pretending to beat up a man on the street. It was just a goofy thing, not real. And it got taken down for being too disturbing to even be left up on YouTube. It was too graphic to even get an age restriction. It went so far above an age restriction that they not only took it down, they gave me a full strike because of how traumatizing it must have been for the manual reviewer to have been subjected to such horror. And I was understandably outraged, but not nearly as outraged as I'm going to be if I find out that you play Rocket League without wearing the Moist Esports Rocket League skins that are now in the shop. This isn't even like a hashtag ad like an official one, it's just we finally have our Moist Esports items in the shop, and I just wanted to at least shout it out here. They look fucking great. Here's a little quick clip of them in game. So they're in the Rocket League shop, so if you're a Rocket League player, make sure to check those out to support the squad. But anyway, I got a little carried away just immediately. So back to what we're here for. So then I started a hashtag on Twitter called AnswerUsYouTube, and through this, I ended up accidentally throwing Markiplier under the bus because he had also reacted to that same video that I was covering. And in response to me bringing that to light, Markiplier played hardball saying, "Fair's fair, where's my strike, YouTube?" And YouTube hit him with a fat strike. A very disrespectful, very petty strike for Markiplier, the first in his entire channel's history. All because of a fake road rage incident involving SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse. So Markiplier made a video talking about it as well, and then shortly thereafter, YouTube folded, and I framed their response. We have this timeless classic saying, "We're not going to die on this hill. You were right. After even further review, your video and others are back up and these strikes have been removed. This was an over-enforcement of our policies, especially with the added context commentaries you originally pointed out." Now what they're referring to in the first part of the tweet with not dying on that hill and the even further review, it's in reference to a point I made where when you appeal something, it instantly gets rejected. Like they'll reject something within minutes, even though your video's like 30 minutes, they'll reject it in 3. So somehow they're working on demon time and able to watch the entire 30-minute video and deduce that they're right, even with no possible way of finishing it in that time. And that's what happened with my video. It was instantly rejected and then said, you know what, we've reviewed it and we're standing by our decision. So I said, why are they dying on this hill? It's not even a real video. This makes no sense. So that's what they're talking about in the tweet. So basically, Markiplier went up to bat for me and saved the fucking day. That man has been my savior for that action there. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's because that chapter isn't closed. I believe that book was kaput, you know, like the dinosaurs, it had gone extinct. YouTube was never going to make a big issue out of that video in particular again, the SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse road rage incident. Well, it turns out I was wrong, because today another YouTuber named NightDocs, who I'm sure many of you have watched content from before, got a strike on his channel for the exact same fucking video, which they had already deemed is fine. They agreed that it was an over-enforcement of their policy and they were in error. Yet today, they have come back and said, this is the violence and gore for NightDocs, and they struck him for it. The same fucking video. I wouldn't dare show a single frame from this video anymore. It's goddamn radioactive. I don't know what it is about it that YouTube truly hates, but every single time this comes up, it seems like they react with the most heavy hand imaginable and strike down the gavel of injustice and issue a strike just for even showing the video. I actually privated the original upload I made on this content because I was afraid something like this may happen again in the future. So I privated it just to be safe. And it turns out I was right because it looks like they're going through again and purging the platform of this SpongeBob Mickey Mouse road rage thing. It's so weird, and I feel so bad for NightDocs. Like, it's nothing wrong with the video. There's no violence and there's no gore. Like, I don't know what they're seeing in this video that no one else on the planet is, but my god, it is crazy. It is so peculiar. I can't really wrap my head around it. Why this video in particular is the one that keeps triggering the system to issue a strike, and then a manual reviewer come in to agree with the system that the strike is legitimate. Like, there's some kind of crazy delusion going on over there. It makes no sense to me at all. Let's keep in mind, on YouTube, there is actual violence and gore. You can search it up right now. A lot of it's age restricted. In fact, most of it is, but there still is unrestricted violence and gore on the platform too. So even in the most severe case, if they deemed it was like violent or gory, which it's not, why do they go to the strike instead of like an age restriction, which is a lot less severe? This isn't like gratuitous blood and guts flying all over the place with SpongeBob eating the intestines out of his victim on the streets or anything, with Mickey Mouse beating him with a sledgehammer. It is fake road rage with these mascots in costume. Like it is so weird. It is so silly. And YouTube is once again going down this warpath against this video in particular. I don't even know what the solution is, because we already solved the problem and they just reopened the wound and poured salt on it here, right in Night Doc's face. I don't even know what the proper protocol is. YouTube themselves agreed that they were wrong, and now they've come back and done the exact same thing again. Is it just like you need to remind them, like, hey, we've already been here, done that. We've done this whole song and dance. Like, is that what needs to happen? Like, YouTube needs the little refresher, like the little memory update to remind them that we've already done this? Or is this going to be a biannual thing where every couple of years YouTube's just going to do this shit again? Like a natural disaster. I don't know. I don't get it. I feel bad for Night Docs and anyone else that just got a strike again for this video. It's so nonsensical. I just wanted to talk about it because this blows my mind that it's flaring up again. It's so fucking wild. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya. I couldn't decide whether or not to make this video, so I did what I always do when I'm conflicted on a topic. I ate a peanut butter and honey sandwich. There's something about that just unlocks the full capacity of the human brain. It's like that pill from Limitless. So after my post-sandwich clarity, I did decide that this is worth talking about because I think there is a lesson to be learned here. Yesterday I posted this video, and it's me talking about a YouTuber event that was hosted where it was a roast battle, but there was no preparation, everyone was a stranger. I'm also pretty sure it was everyone's first time on stage, so it just became this giant, unhinged, festering petri dish of concentrated cringe. And I was joking about it and talking about it. And today, the Frankenstein behind this monster, Def Noodles, the YouTuber who ran the event, responded to me and my take on it. And this is why I was so back and forth on whether or not to make this video, because I don't want this to be construed as some kind of personal attack or anything personal. Like I said when talking about the event, I don't really know Def Noodles. I don't hate him. I've only seen a couple of things on Twitter where he said or did some bad shit that people were dunking on him for, and I've seen this roast. That's my whole exposure to Def Noodles, so I don't have strong opinions on him. I was making jokes about the event as well as his set, but I don't know the guy very well. So I'm not just going to be insulting him or anything like that. This is going to be me talking about his response video, which I think is a very important lesson in how not to handle controversy.
Today's video is a little bit different than usual. I think it's about time that I address the new allegations against me. It feels like it's only been a few days since I've had to make one of these videos addressing allegations, and yet here we are once again addressing more allegations. I mean,
this is such a weird way of starting the video because I didn't make any allegations against him. I made jokes about the event and talked about it. The closest thing that came to an accusation from me, I guess, is when I compared the roast battle to an act of terrorism. Which, I think there's a good argument to be made there. This was so fucking bad. Obviously, I'm just goofing around. It's just such a weird way of framing this video because I didn't make any allegations against him. I also don't understand why he titled the video an apology to Moist Critical. He doesn't owe anyone an apology, least of all me. I fucking loved it. I thought it was delightful. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. He put on an event and it didn't go over super well with the majority of people, and that's fine.
I just can't help myself. I can't keep my dick in my pants when it comes to creating problems and destroying my career. I just need to fuck it. My career. I need to fuck it up. I
think it's important to note that this entire 10-minute video is sarcastic. The entire 10 minutes is spent in full sarcastic monologue like it's a high school drama club exercise. And I really don't see why he would think that's a good idea. And he started this video by saying this isn't the normal piece of content he makes, but it really has become the normal piece of content he makes. This is the third video in the last 8 days he's made talking about drama and like revolving around himself, like the controversy on Twitter or whatever. He's made 3 videos talking about it, and his audience is tired of it. You can see it in the comments section with so many of his fans just asking him to please stop doing this. And in this short section where he talks about how he can't help but fuck up his career, there is a level of truth to that, and I think there's a level of self-awareness there as well. When he posted this video, he lost 3,000 subscribers over the course of 6 hours because, again, his fan base didn't sign up to hear him throw these like self-pity parties here. This isn't the content that they want, and he keeps talking about it over and over and over again. And he's making a big deal out of these things, but like, I don't know the other drama, but this is not an issue. You know, you put on an event, which is more than a lot of people will do, so you should be proud of that, and it just didn't go over super well, right? That's not a crime. You know, no one's saying that you should be thrown in a fucking slammer for it or anything like that. People were just laughing about it. The main takeaway here is impulsively making a video while emotional. And it's something I've done before too. Every YouTuber's made a video they regret, obviously. And I think that's what he's going through at the moment, where he's impulsively responding to things that are kind of non-issues, like me laughing at the roast, or people's response to the roast, or whatever the fuck is going on Twitter, and making a video about it, which is only further hurting him. Which it's like a cycle. And there just has to be this point where you say, like, okay, let me just step back from Twitter, which is the best thing you can ever do, you know, and I'll just, you know, handle it privately, as opposed to making everything a public spectacle, you know. There was drama on Twitter, and I'm just going to sit on it myself. I don't need to make a video talking about it, because if I do, people aren't going to want to hear it, and they might not like it.
I did indeed get banned on Twitch after a gay comedian made a gay joke, and I got massive backlash for it on Twitter as a result.
This part's a little disingenuous because he seems to believe he got banned because of people mass reporting him and having a big backlash about it. But that's not really the case. What happened is Def Noodles was roasting against another comedian, and she just randomly shouted a slur for no reason. There wasn't like a joke leading up to it. There wasn't like a punchline or any context to it. She just shouted a slur, which is against Twitch's rules, so whether or not people made a big fuss about it on Twitter wouldn't have mattered. He was going to get banned for that.
Greatest crime that I committed was to have caused the great moist critical to cringe. I have unfortunately committed the most heinous sin a YouTuber can commit in their careers.
This is again pretty disingenuous because I don't cringe. Sometimes my eyes just get itchy during very uncomfortable moments, and I'll have to, you know, stop and scratch them occasionally, but I'm just not built to cringe. I don't have that gene.
After hearing out the entire internet and realizing that I committed the most heinous crime against humanity by putting on a show in my office and broadcasting it for free for anyone to see, the only way I could see this situation was with remorse. I am deeply apologetic for anyone out there who was traumatized by the free will to click on a video and watch it.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the tone for the whole video, basically, where it's, you had the free will, I'm sorry I provided you with free entertainment, man, how douchey of me to put on a free event on my own time to have some fun, I'm so sorry. Like that kind of thing. Why? Why make this sarcastic, salty video about it? No one's mad at you for putting on the event. I don't see anyone upset. Like, people had a great time laughing at it. Granted, that wasn't the effect you intended it to have, but even still, as a comedian, being able to roll with the punches is super important, but this is the opposite of rolling with the punches. This is like sarcastically punching back. I don't see why. The only people that would have any right to be upset with the event are the people that paid for it, and I haven't seen any of them complain, and from what you said in this video, they had a great time, so overall, it was successful. So then why be mad? Why make yet another video rolling around in your own personal drama and posting it on your channel? That is self-destructive. That is a downward spiral. Your audience doesn't want to keep seeing you do this. I don't want to see you making videos like this because it's just not a good look.
I truly wish we lived in a dictatorial society so government officials could just rush into my building mid-show and have me immediately sent to the gulags for even attempting to do something of the sort. That is not the enough punishment for me. Honestly, I think the only appropriate response to the video that I chose to freely publish on the internet is death. I should go educate myself at the end of the barrel of a loaded shotgun. After all, the taste of bullets is the only thing that can truly educate a person to never commit a crime ever again.
Hearing things like this is just deeply concerning, and I totally understand why his audience is really trying their best to get through to him that these kind of videos are alarming and very much driving them away from him and his content. It's just disturbing to hear these kind of extreme statements, and I truly hope that this is just part of his sarcastic persona that he's putting on for the video. Like, maybe it's some kind of parody, but I haven't seen anyone say anything even close to this. All people are saying is, man, that was pretty cringy. Which he himself says on stage, as well as the other people on stage also point out that it was cringy. So I don't know why he's blowing it up like this with statements like that. I really do hope it's just part of this over-the-top sarcastic persona that he's portraying here.
Fully address the situation with Great Moist Critical. Mr. Moist. Anyway, Mr. Moist Critical, I thank you for your profound observations. I thank you for showing me the light. I will once again produce a super roast battle 2 weeks from now so we can wrong every right that was left unturned.
Yeah, he concludes the video by announcing a second roast is right around the corner, which I'm pretty hype about. I'm marking the calendar. But yeah, I think the announcement could have been better saved for a piece of content that was more, you know, not this. This is just a very long, sarcastic drama video that his audience doesn't want to keep seeing, and a lot of people will be turned off by. I, again, am not super familiar with Def Noodles, but I really am wishing him the best here because this doesn't seem like a healthy way of combating drama or controversy. So, yeah, that's really about it. See ya.